here we go then. Keep your eye. You can barely see him on the 73 on the factory Yamaha, back on row number 3. Starting again from pole, and again getting a brilliant start is Christian on the LCR Honda. He's going to take the whole shot, there's no doubt about that. Trask looking to go the long way round. He's managed to recover a handful of places. High, wide and handsome as we expected. Those are the first of your 8.8 right turns, and Spadalongo is firing through into the chicane for the first time. Oh, 3 into there isn't going to go, but somehow Trask makes it work. What a start from the world champion. 8th on the grid, and he's already up to 5th.
So he's barged his way through. They're up 3 positions already. Jack Hammer's slipped down 1, so that's certainly not ideal for him. We see late in the race earlier on this evening that he had great pace. But look at this again. Christian getting off to a flyer, pulling out almost 4 tenths once more. And it seems as though he's got his brother Adrian behind him and Piero Ricciuti flying on, trying to keep tabs.
Wide though was Ricciuti there. He's lost a little bit of ground on Adrian ahead of him. Meanwhile, we'll keep our eye and our focus on Trask, because once again he's got company from Jack Hammer. Those two have been inseparable tonight. The Yamaha versus the KTM. They're going to go at it once again here at the Red Bull Ring.
Here we go then, brother versus brother. This one's going to be a big one in the Montenegro household. These two going for the same World Championship, and Christian really needs to make up these points. Adrian's ahead of him, and this is certainly going to be a tricky one as we go on through the rest of these 9 laps.
Good start this from Mr. T, actually. We're spoken about the big 6 in this championship. Mr. T currently the best of the rest, the Australian up in 7th. Good start for him. Meanwhile, here comes Jack Hammer, moves to the inside. Can he get the job done onto the brakes into turn 1? No, he can't. No, he can't. He stays 6th, and Trask holds on to 5th.
Such a tricky one, that turn 1. It tightens up so much on the exit. They've got to make sure they don't run it too far, because there are track limits out there, and our guys in the gallery, the race directors, will be keeping an eye for if they stray onto the green. But as we go through the 2A2B chicane once more, then, oh, look at this great run from Jack Hammer up into turn 3. Is he going to stick it on the inside? He does. Can he get it pulled down to the apex? Lovely stuff. Watch for Trastevere on the cutback. Is he going to be able to get the drive? It doesn't seem it is. Look at that then, Jack Hammer already through. Now we'll be able to see if he's got the pace to catch up to those guys.
Oh, here's Trask. He's come out of nowhere there, but he was way too far back. An inch-perfect move that was from Jack Hammer. It looked as though as soon as he released the brakes, he was going to run wide, but somehow he managed to keep it stopped, clip off the apex, get it onto the fat part of the tyre, and he's held onto it. 5th spot for Jack Hammer. He made that look like light work.
He did, yeah, lovely move. Wasn't expecting it that early in the race. We saw Jack Hammer really struggle to get past Trastevere last time in Jerez, really having to force the issue and move him off the line last time, but certainly this time much easier indeed. Oh, that's a shame there for Piero Ricciuti. Just lost a little bit of ground to Adrian, as though he was looking like he was maybe going to set up a move coming down now onto the home straight as they head down to turn 1. So 2 laps down already, and it looks as though Christian, fastest lap of the race to him, but then it's taken over by Piero Ricciuti. So the man on the Ducati is the man on the move.
You can see Adrian there. I do love that. As soon as they get onto the start-finish straight, you can see his eyes glancing to the right. Just looking at the timing screen on the right of your, well, the right of his picture, the left of your picture at home, just working out who's where, what the current situation is in this race, and he'll know that he had a pit board across the line, a virtual one, of around plus 0.2, which is not exactly what you want. Takes an interesting line there out of turn 3, swerving out to the left-hand side before then coming back across right, back left once more before braking hard down into turn 4. Downhill that is one of the trickiest places to get the bike stopped. Never mind on the here at the Red Bull Ring, but on the eSport calendar, it's very difficult braking zone.
Look at this. Look in the background. 6th place, Trastevere is actually losing touch now to these top. That's a shame for Mr. T, running strongly in 7th. Huge shame then for the Australian. Looks as though that was going to be one of his best rides of the year, and that has gone out the window here, unfortunately for that man. But just as we say, Trastevere looks as though he's losing touch with these top 5.
He is. He's what, 3/4 of a second adrift of Jack Hammer with only 2 laps completed. He looks as though he's struggling to climb Everest.
Look at that.
He's
wide again.
as well.
Ooh, someone's really wide. That's Davide Galligna out on the berm. So all the way out there on the Aprilia, should I say. Looks as though he's going to lose a couple of places. Might try to dive back up the inside of Spadalongo into turn 1, but to no such avail. But yeah, Trastevere, this is not what we expected. He made a bright start. We thought, here we go, he's going to rocket up the order. But it's turned out to be the opposite. He's almost a second behind Jack Hammer now.
Doesn't look comfortable at all, does he? He's struggling to get the bike stopped. He's struggling to keep touch with the top 5 ahead. as Mr. T goes down again. A second crash for him. He made such a good start. What a shame for our likeable Aussie. I think we need to draw attention to this man, actually, because, yes, Trastevere is struggling, but Jackhammer has got electric pace here. He's got rid of the Italian behind, and he's quickly closed in on the factory Suzuki ahead of him. Good stuff, this from the Brit.
Well, we said it in the first race, didn't we? If he could only qualify better, we know he's got the pace in the race to be able to come through these guys and close gaps down. And once again, he's doing it here. It's now almost under 3 tenths to Andrea Severi in front of him. There you can see the live championship on the right. It's going to be a big shift. 3 points, 4 points covering the top 3. And then Christian, look at that. He was 25 back at the start of the evening, wasn't he?
25.5 back.
Now he's only going to be 11, so it is tightening up here. Yeah, Ricciuti's only 14 back as well. Lovely stuff. This is what we want to see as we're halfway through this race now.
Me and Jack are rubbing our hands together, but that it'll change once more again. You can see the quick change there as Piero Ricciuti gets ahead of Adrian. Adrian will look to fight back though, and that's an important move from Adrian to make sure that he's 3 points adrift rather than 5, even at this early stage. Those 2 points could be absolutely vital. Ricciuti's wide. He's on the grass. He's hit the advertising hoardings, and he's gone down. A big mistake from the factory Ducati man. Looking at another podium, but it's all gone up in smoke.
My lord, what a blunder that is. Just as we were saying, he was coming into championship contention. He now drops out of the top 5 in the championship. That is a huge error from Piero Ricciuti, the wild child on the Ducati. Oh my lord, I can't believe that he absolutely nailed the advertising board.
Goodness gracious me, he was lucky to not collect anyone else in that incident, because that Desma Sadici went absolutely flying.
Turned into a pogo stick.
He certainly did. And as a result, despite the fastest lap of the race, despite having moved up to second, he's now all the way down in 11th.
When have we ever seen someone just walk off into the distance ahead of Adrian? I honestly can't remember the last time that Adrian was in second early on, chasing down the leader, and then the leader has gone, okay, no problem, and just pulled a second on it. I do not remember the last time this has happened, but what it does mean is Christian number 17 is really finding his form here in 2022. If he can pick up the double tonight, well, confidence on as there Adrian goes wide. Will that open the door for Andrea Severi? No, it doesn't look like it. Well, he actually picked up a small advantage there. We'll have to keep a check on that one. Does get a track limits warning, of course. Our guys in the gallery keeping their beady eyes on them. Yeah,
you're absolutely right, Jack, making a point of how comfortable Christian is making this look. 4, 5 races now so far this year, and 2 of them have been won by over a second advantage, but 1.3 seconds the advantage in Assen, just over a second at Jerez earlier on, but he's already nearly 1.5 clear. Meanwhile, change for the podium places. He's on a charge as the Red Bull factory KTM man on home soil. He's got that added bit of extra motivation, and he's putting it to good use. Jackhammer up to 3rd, but for how long? Oh, I thought Severi was going to lunge up the inside there. For a second, I think if it was the last lap, he probably would have gone for it, but he thought better of it, and Jackhammer holds on to 3rd.
So once again then, another lovely move from Jackhammer. The young Brit has got the bit between his teeth. What's he got now? He's got 0.8 up to Adrian. We know that Adrian hasn't quite got the pace of Christian in front of him. So if Jackhammer can keep putting in those laps, we may well see this close up. And a second place for Jackhammer. What's he back now? 17 back now. Once again, here's another contender into the championship race.
It certainly is. It's closing up quite nicely. The big loser. I still can't believe that mistake from Ricciuti.
He's got very deep.
Wide. Surely this is going to allow Severi to come back on him. But again, it looks as though he definitely managed to pull out a couple of bike lengths. He does get the track limits warning, but I'm not sure whether those guys maybe just need a word in the rear at the end of this one, because look at him, he's actually closed in on Adrian. So I wouldn't be too pleased if I was Severi. He's wide again.
Piero's gone down again.
Bad to worse for the Ducati man. Can you believe it? The wild child. Well, he's lost his rag. His composure has gone. He's crashed out for the 2nd time. And if he's not careful, Mr. T's closing in, and Mr. T could be getting ahead of him, and he'll be dead last.
Tell you what, Jack, just noticed here, round of applause for you, Mastru, the debutant this evening on the Tech 3 KTM. Only his 2nd race in the Global Series, and he's running very strongly indeed in 9th. So brilliant stuff from that man, stepping in. A late call-up after Dark Bright decided to stop this year in the Global Series. So you, Mastru, Well done indeed.
I tell you what, the storyline just to keep your eye on as well. Vindex just bit by bit closing in on Trast ahead of him. It would be some tale if the apprentice was able to get ahead of the master and take even more points off of him. So we'll keep our eye on that one. It's just hovering at over a second at the moment. Across the line, Christian goes, still looking extremely comfortable. What an evening this has been for him so far. He put 10 perfect back. No, let me rephrase that. He put 11 perfect laps together at Jerez by taking pole position. He put another perfect lap together at the Red Bull Ring yesterday to take another pole position. And so far, he's completed 7 perfect laps. He just needs 2.5 more to double victory.
Yeah, certainly looking though, it's just coming easy to him at the minute, isn't it? He's found the form. This is one of those gaming sessions where it's just all clicking for Christian on the LCR Honda. And just as we're looking about what Jack Hammer was going to do, it does look as though actually Andreas Severi's just kind of regrouped and is starting to apply the pressure onto him again. Here's Trastevere then, certainly not closing in at all. That gap was about 1.2 a lap ago and it's gone up, if anything. It's up to 1.4, almost 1.5 now. So any charge that Trastevere was going to put on looks as though it's not coming.
Yep, 5th at best it looks like. For the factory Yamaha man today, a pair of 5th places, to be fair, having started 6th and 8th on the grid.
It's not a bad recovery.
Damage limitation, you know, I don't think he'll be too disappointed. His championship lead has been cut, but I'm sure... Oh, no! Jack Hammer's gone down! Oh, big mistake from the Brit. He was charging through to get himself up onto the podium, and the front end folds. Can you believe it?
Such a tricky corner there into turn 9. The front is so loaded going in. You've got to throw it in. The rear's light, it's bouncing all over the place, and it just cried no more. But what it does do, as we cut on board with him, it promotes this man up 1 more position. So that's another little bump of points for Trastevere. He picks up 1 more over his advantage that he did have. 4-point buffer that could prove crucial.
Oh, Jack Hammer will be inconsolable.
Spitting feathers.
Can you believe it? He was looking so good. The form man. He got the better of Trast. He got the better of Andreas Severi. And both with absolutely impeccable moves. But with just over 2 laps remaining, he makes the big mistake of crashing out and falling all the way down to 6.
And there's a knock-on effect as well, Jack. This doesn't help Christian either. He's gone from, what was he? It was 11 points back earlier, and now after 2 crashes from 2 separate people, he's back to 12.5 back. And picking up that extra 1.5 points really does make a difference when there's only half points available for these online rounds.
Well. Can you believe it? Trast has been pretty fortunate in this one. He's not had the pace to be any higher than 6 in the pair of them, of our big 6. He's been the 6th best man throughout both races when you're looking at the pace, but crucially, he's not made any errors, and that can't be said, unfortunately, of Adrian, of Jack Hammer, of Piero Ricciuti. And that consistency, that ability to not make mistakes, is what makes him 3 times champion.
Yeah, it certainly is, but this man at the moment aiming to try and become a champion himself. Certainly plenty of consistency. He's been absolutely impeccable here this evening at round 3 of the Global Series. Navigating the 2A, 2B chicane safely for 1 final time, and then it's just a handful more corners before this man takes home a glorious double.
In towards turn 3 for the final time. The rear end squirreling around, but no such problems. He eventually gets that RC213V under control and fires it down the hill towards turn 4. This is going to be a good way of bouncing back for Christian's brother Adrian behind as well. 2nd place, managed to regroup after that mistake at Jerez, and Severi onto the box as well. Just keeping his championship charge going. Yet to win a race this year, let's not forget, but he has been on the podium a number of times coming into this round. 2 podium visits, and then he managed to, did he just miss out on the podium in Jerez? I think he managed to steal one, didn't he? Because he got ahead of Jack Hammer, who was battling for 4th and 5th with Trast. So another podium finish will do his championship hopes the world of good. But this is the form man of tonight. Victory in Jerez. Victory now at the Red Bull Ring. It's double for Christian. He had to wait some time for a win, and just like London buses, 2 have come at once. Brilliant stuff from the LCR man as he takes his 2nd win of the year. Adrian onto the podium in second, Severi third, and Trast, it's damage limitation, but he'll take that the world champion. Fourth spot, your heart has to go out for Jack Hammer. That late crash demoted him to 6th, and Piero Ricciuti can only manage 10th after throwing away a podium of his own.
So highs and lows once again in MotoGP eSport. A sigh of relief then for Trastevere as he takes home more points than he ever thought he would have been able to after looking at the running order after those first couple of laps. But there it is then, confirmation that Christian is your double winner here this evening. Round 3 starting to come on strong, 2 rounds left. Well, he might just be making a bit of a charge. His brother Adrian then, the 2020 World Champion, finishes just 1 second behind to take 2nd place. Good recovery after the first race here in Jerez. Andrea Severi, 2 podiums on the evening. Good job from Trastevere 4th. Vindex 5th. Fantastic stuff when that man stayed out of the drama and picked up the points. Jack Hammer's 6th, he'll be frustrated. Davide Galina recovers to 7th after taking the car park route at the final corner. Tatigo 8th, another strong ride from him. And then congratulations to Yumas Chura in 9th. From Piero Ricciuti 10th, Spadalongo 11th, and Mr. T after those 2 crashes rounds us out in 12th.